वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरय
ततोऽयमुदीरये
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नित्यं भगवत्सेवया
नित्यं भगवत्सेवया
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवति उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भक्तिनैष्ठिकी.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी.
So we are continuing with Canto 3, the status quo, chapter 15, description of the kingdom of God. Text 1.
मैत्रेय उवाच
मैत्रेय उवाच
प्रजापत्यं तु तत्तेजः
प्रजापत्यं तत्तेजः
परतेजोहनं दितिः
परतेजोहनं दितिः
दधार वर्षाणि सतां
ददारवर्षाणि सतां
शङ्कमाना सुधारदा
शङ्कमाना सुराधना.
Sri Maitreya said, My dear Vidura, Diti, the wife of the sage Kashyapa, could understand that the sons within her womb would be a cause of disturbance to the demigods. As such, she continuously bore the powerful semen of Kasyapa Muni, which was meant to give trouble to others for 100 years. So when Titi approached her husband, remember, yesterday we were reading, and her husband then predicted what is going to happen, revealing to her that the sons are going to cause a lot of terrible anxiety, pain, and suffering for the people. So Diti realized that she got no choice, but so she thought maybe she can hold on her sons instead of letting them develop and come out. She decided to control them. You know, the reason she's doing it is because she's a decent person. She didn't want any people to get killed or things like that. So it goes to show she is a devotee. And that's why she felt that way. That is the reason for her controlling the pregnancy. Text 2.
लोके तेन हता लोके
लोके तेन हता लोके
लोकपाला हतौजसः
लोकपाला हतौजसः
न्यवेदयान् विश्वसृजे
नवेदयान् विश्वस्य
ध्वान्ताव्यतिकरं दिशाम्
ध्वान्ताव्यतिकरं दिशाम्.
By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and the moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets, being disturbed by that force, asked the creator of the universe, Brahma, what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? So again, it's like her tejas, so powerful that when she was controlling her birth, it created these other problems within the universe. Just see how powerful these personalities are. So Diti also is a very powerful person, but you can see, even though she wanted to slow down the process of her childbirth, it is causing another problem. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes something that most people cannot accept. This is directly against the scientific world. It appears from this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam that the sun is the source of light for all the planets in the universe. The modern scientific theory, which states that there are many suns in each universe, is not supported by this verse. It is understood that in each universe there is only one sun, which supplies light to all the planets. In Bhagavad Gita, the moon is also stated to be one of the stars. There are many stars, and when we see them glittering at night, we can understand that they are reflectors of light. Just as moonlight is a reflection of sunlight, other planets also reflect sunlight. And there are many other planets which cannot be seen by our naked eyes. The demoniac influence of the suns in the womb of Diti expanded darkness throughout the universe. So you can see when Prabhupada makes that statement, people cannot accept it. So generally, unless you really understand the way the planetary systems are, as opposed to how the scientific community looks at that, you shouldn't go into this thing too much. Unless you can explain like Sadabuddha Prabhu or somebody. You shouldn't try to use this to convince people about Krishna consciousness. Okay? You understand?
They will
So-
convince you otherwise.
Huh?
They will end up convincing you otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. You will be convinced. No, you will be confused and they will be confused. So we don't go into that unless you really know how this entire universe is set up. Now, one of the things Prabhupada says, sun is the source of light for all the planets in the universe. It means, the way to understand, or the way I understood this is, our sun, that Surya, is the only, according to what Prabhupada means by sun, this is how I understood. That is, there's only one Surya. Okay? Now, there may be other fiery planets that look like sun also, but they are not the sun. The other difference, the way I see it is, our sun is life-giving. Okay? Wherever it shines, there is life within this universe. Whereas the other fiery planets that look like sun or very much like the sun, they cannot give life.
So have you actually found other fiery elements? Or fiery
Sun.
planets?
Yeah, there are so many suns according to scientists, right?
All stars,
Yeah, they say all the stars are suns.
fiery planets.
Yeah. So like a fiery planet, same. But from this Vedic point of view, there's only one sun. So one Surya, the way we say. You can call all, modern point of view, they're all suns. But for us, from Vedic point of view, there's only one sun. The others are like fiery planets or something like that. So that's how I understood when I read this. Yeah.
So, Prabhu, how should we understand this statement? When we see the glitterings at night, we can understand that they are the reflectors of light.
Sometimes some
So-
planets reflect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of them are reflecting the light from the sun, or what is the source for them?
No, there are many stars, and when you see them, some of them are reflecting sun, some of them are not. Because even you look at Jupiter in the mornings, very bright and it sparkles, so it looks like a star, but it's not a star in the correct term, so it's not. So some planets are reflecting, some may be like fire themselves. There's only one sun, that's all you need to know from our point of view. Okay?
When you say only sun, our sun is life giving, that means other fiery planets, because there is life all over the universe. So
No. There's only life where, as far as our sun reaches.
Oh,
Wherever
rest of the part,
Surya,
there is no life
Surya only goes to a certain
distance.
distance. That's all the life is encased within our universe. That's all. And then beyond that, there are lives in different coverings. That's a different level, but they are not. We can't see them at all anyway. We are talking about what is the sun and what is not a sun, according to what Prabhupada is saying, the way I understand. Okay, that's why I say it's very hard to, if you talk to a lay person, when they read this, it's not going to be easy for you to convince them, because they will be coming from a scientific point of view, and it will not agree with this statement. So generally, we don't get into this.
So that means all the 14 planetary systems receive the light from the sun only.
Yeah, that's right. And beyond that, there are self-effulgent planets also.
To Loka mountain.
Yeah. up to Loka mountain.
Light goes
That's how he travels, right? Yeah. Yeah. Beyond that, Brahma's planet, they all are self-effulgent.
Does sunlight also reach Patala or is there only darkness?
Patala is a bill solar, so it's on earth plate. So there is no light there.
It's under the
earth plate.
under the plate, so the sun is not going under. Yeah. If you look at that, you know where the tortoise is, right? On the extreme right, where the tortoise is. So the plane underneath that is where the Patala Loka and all. So there the sun is not going there. So they are all suffering. Oh, there he's showing.
This is earth plate completely. So there is no light.
That's the Bhumandala.
Bhumandala and
Below.
These are Billa Sarga. There is no light below this, below the first plate.
Yeah. So the sun is only going up there, up to Dhruva and Loka. That's where they
Yeah,
go.
the sun is here. So basically, sun is this part. So the yellow part is the Loka mountain. And the height of the Loka mountain is up to the Dhruva.
Dhruva Loka. Yeah.
So the sun only goes up to Dhruva.
Yeah. So those Patala Loka and all, they are like a prison house, you know. So they don't get all these benefits.
But they have light too.
The life is there, but that's managed by the Yamaraj.
Hood of the snake.
And then the hood of the snake has a jewel, no? And it's shining. So when I mean life giving means life like normal, we're not talking about Patala Loka or the Jana Loka and all those higher planets. I'm talking about those demigod planets and our planets.
So here the circumference is given up to that only the light goes.
Right, you see the drawing shows up where the light is.
Dhruva Loka to
Where is the sun?
sun is down.
He is traveling around there.
Sun is down. This is circle.
Oh, like this.
On the
He actually goes like this.
right?
Right, he goes in and out, in and out.
So on this yellow, so if that disc is right now the disc is put like this, right? If you flap the disc like this, then this is the Loka mountain. The sun is still on the Manassatara mountain, which is yellow.
Right, but he goes in and out.
Yeah,
Like
so
a groove of a record player, like that.
So it's not like how we studied in school.
Yeah, so don't try to
Fit the knowledge.
fit the scientific thing. Don't. We're just trying to understand from Vedic point of view. Yeah. Some things may be the same. Some things you cannot understand. Some things don't.
This
Don't
yellow is the sun, and one of the chariot wheel is on the Manassatara mountain, which is this.
Hmm.
Other is on the top of Mount Meru.
Big chariot.
Big chariot.
Okay. That's enough of physics. Text 3.
Deva uchuhu
Deva uchuhu
tamayetat vibhoveta
tamayetat vibhoveta
samvignayat vayam vrisham
samvignayat vayam vrisham
nahyavyatam bhagavataha
nahyavyatam bhagavataha
kalena prishtavartmanah
kalena prishtavartmanah.
The fortunate demigod said, O great one, just see this darkness, which you know very well and which is causing us anxieties. Because the influence of time cannot touch you, there's nothing unmanifest before you. So here they are addressing Brahma as both as the personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, and Vibhu. So basically, he is a incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Guna Avatar. So therefore they are addressing like that. Not only that, he also has the ability to see past, present and future. 3 color gyan. Okay. Text 4.
देवदेव जगद्दाता
देवदेव जगन्नाथ
लोकनाथा शिखामणि
लोकनाथ शिखामणे
परेषाम् अपरेषां त्वं
परेषाम् अपरेषां त्वं
भूतानामसि भाववेत्
भूतानामसि भाववे
O God of the demigods, sustainer of the universe, head jewel of all the demigods in other planets, you know the intentions of all living entities in both the spiritual and material worlds. Again, because he has that ability, they are asking. So in the purport, Prabhupada said, he is the head of all the demigods, and therefore he is addressed here as the head jewel of the demigods. Okay, and he also knows what's happening. Therefore, he is requested to explain why is this thing happening. He's supposed to know everything. That's 5.
नमो विज्ञानवीर्याय
नमो विज्ञानवीर्याय
माययेदम् उपेयुषे
माययेदम् उपयुषे
गृहीत गुणभेदाय
विहितगुणभेदाय
नमस्ते व्यक्तयोनये
नमस्ते व्यक्तयोनये
O original source of strength and scientific knowledge, all obeisances unto you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With the help of external energy, you are born of the unmanifested source. All obeisance unto you. So they're glorifying him. Text 6.
ये त्वयन्येन भावेन
ये त्वयेन भावेन
भावयन्ति आत्मभावनम्
भावयन्त्यात्मभावनम्
आत्मनि प्रोतभुवनम्
आत्मनि प्रोतभुवनम्
परं सदसदात्मकम्
परं सदसदात्मकम्
O Lord, all these planets exist within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service. Which is a fact. Everything he actually, as a secondary creator, it's correct. He is cause of this universe in that sense. Okay. And he is a devotee of Krishna. So anyone who prays to Brahma would also be following in his footsteps to worship Krishna. Text 7.
येषां सुपक्वयोगानां
तेषां सुखयोगानां
जितश्वासेन्द्रियात्मनां
जितश्वासेन्द्रियात्मनां
लब्धयुष्मात् प्रसादानां
लब्धयुष्मत्प्रसादानां
न कूटश्चित् पराभवः
न कुतश्चित् पराभवः
There is no deep defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, and who are therefore experienced mature mystics. This is because of such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. In the Prabhupada says, the real purpose of yogic performances is to control the mind and senses. The process of the reason behind controlling mind and senses is so that they can actually
Focus on the soul.
focus on the
Supreme.
Supreme Lord. Okay, and then one who can succeed in that, Prabhupada says, such a person is a mature yogi. Yeah? He can control that. So one who cannot attain the mercy and benediction of Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and the senses. So that is important. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. So if you are a Astanga yogi or one of those yogis, if you do, then you have to actually physically try to control your mind and senses. But Prabhupada says, if you can do engage yourself in devotion service, automatically one's senses are controlled. We don't have to do that. Okay, text 8.
यस्य वाचा प्रजा सर्वा
यस्य वाचा प्रजा सर्वा
गावस्तन्त्येव यन्त्रिताः
गावस्तन्त्येव यन्त्रिताः
हरन्ति बलिम् आयत्तास्
हरन्ति बलिम् आयत्तास्
तस्मै मुख्याय ते नमः
तस्मै मुख्याय ते नमः.
All the living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. To the chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respect. So again, they are glorifying Brahma for revealing the Vedic literature and the laws of the personality of God. Just praying to him so that he will satisfy them by revealing why this thing is happening. This is again a common thing in the past. You can't just go and say, "Tell me now what is happening." Right?
Pray.
Huh?
Just pray for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you glorify them, and then it's kind of custom. It appears like this is the system. You ask about their welfare, how they are doing, and then you ask how things are going. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas nowadays nobody has time to ask them that. It's emergency. Everything is emergency.
With the Pranipata. I think this is the way of showing the surrender.
Yeah. Also, yeah, that's a good point. It also shows that the demigods are surrendered to the Lord Brahma also, because he's like their guru also. So they are approaching him in a humble way.
Yeah, very, very patient and very cultured.
Yeah, you think about it. You also sometimes think, why are they wasting time, right?
Get to the point.
Yeah, that's because that's how we are trained up. Everything get to the point. But you can,
around the bush.
yeah, don't beat around the bush. Most people when they read, they'll think like that.
But then sometimes also, if we, at least I have that concern that I should not waste the time of the person I'm talking to. So
Yeah, we think like that, but that's because we are conditioned thinking like that. Within this material society, yeah, maybe that may be true, because people feel that way. Why you're wasting my time? But you can see a lot of the time, all this helps us understand we should be in control of our senses, mind also. So when somebody has some thing to tell you, you have to be patient and listen. Then you can help. But if you are impatient, then you wouldn't know or understand really what the problem is.
So the question is also, which is the common thing, with first we have to be genuine is
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if somebody is speaking something to us, which especially in devotee circle, they would be speaking nice things about you, and so how should we take it?
Yeah, if people are glorifying you or taking and they have something to tell you and you feel that the way you should react is whatever glorification you get is not yours. It actually belongs to your spiritual master. So you are a representative of Srila Prabhupada and your spiritual master. So whatever glorification, it's not yours, it's theirs. You're just a representation. Just like a salesman, right? Who works for HP or IBM or whatever, right? They are IBM in one sense, but they are not IBM. So when somebody tells them, "Oh, HP is so good," they may feel good also, right? But actually, they are not HP in that sense. So they'll think, "Oh, my company is." So the same way, when somebody glorifies, we should meditate on our spiritual master and say, "All these are yours."
Bank teller. Bank teller.
Bank teller also. The money they receive and then they put in the bank, it's not theirs.
Hot potatoes.
Hot potatoes? I don't know. Hot potatoes actually refers to something you don't want to handle.
Yeah, but that's where it's. So how do we react at that time?
It depends. If you are a mature devotee, then it is definitely a situation where people will come to you to talk to you. So then you have no choice in a sense, because you need to guide people also. But you cannot always take the position, "I don't want to help, I don't." Then in a sense, you're not really helping anyone. Yeah? Because if they cannot turn to someone else, they may make bad choices also. But you cannot think you are good. It's the same thing Krishna tells Arjuna, you can do your duty, but you cannot be attached, or you don't deserve the fruits of it. So the same way when you find people, you cannot think, oh, I'm so good, that's why they're coming. No. You can think, oh, the Lord wants me to help this person. Or I have a role to play here. Or sometimes if you don't want in the beginning, you can say, look, let's go. The best thing is if you don't want to handle such, you always refer them to a senior devotee. Pass them to a senior devotee. But if the senior devotee comes back to you and say, I want you to take her, then it's your service. Right? So that's how you understand it's a service. Yeah.
Well, I was talking about more if people just talk good things about you, or not just people glorify. It will happen to us also, not that because we are teaching others and all that. So they will come and say. So that's not that they are asking for some help, but they just saying.
Two ways you can sit and listen, and then again give it to your spiritual master or your guru or like that, because you are not the person who's really the person who's. Only Krishna can accept all such praise.
Yeah.
We are just servants. Yeah. And if they tell, you can say it's all because of Prabhupada's mercy, spiritual master's mercy, like that, or your authorities, whoever guided you. Yeah, I'm only doing. And if they continue saying, okay, that's enough of praise. Okay, how can I help you? Yeah. Yeah. Not like, okay, continue, I want to hear more. Right? Sometimes it's very pleasing to hear one's glorification, but we don't want that. All right, text 9.
Sattvam vidatsva sambhumam tamasa lupta karmanam abhadradayaya drishtya apannan arha sikshitum.
The demigods prayed to Brahma, please look upon us mercifully, for we have fallen into a miserable condition. Because of the darkness, all our work has been suspended. It's the same thing, even for us. We work in the daytime. Nighttime, everyone comes home to sleep. Even farmers, right? You can only till the land until the sun is there. After that, you have to go back and sleep or wait until the next day starts, right? So the same way they are saying, everything is dark, what can we do? Text 10.
Esha devaditirgarbha oja kashypamarpitam dishastimiirayan sarva vartate gnir
As fuel overloads of fire, so the embryo created by the semen of Kasyapa in the womb of Diti has caused complete darkness throughout the universe. Okay, so the embryo inside the womb, because it can't come out, it's creating this darkness in the entire universe. Just imagine so much darkness they can put. Very powerful, huh? Text 11. It's like sometimes, I don't know about here, but in other countries, when they have, some countries, what they do is they burn the woods, the forests and so on, right? So when they burn the forest, the smoke will go and cover their neighborhood countries. So they are in a lot of difficulties like that. So that's how this is happening. Similarly, the examples.
So to understand it, we obviously cannot understand it from scientific point of view, but in general, how something like this manifests in the sense that, okay, there is an evil person, but just because that evil person is there is this physical manifestation of darkness. How is there I know we cannot really understand it, but still anything.
Well, sometimes I don't know how to.
Are these the omens? the bad omens? Okay.
He's saying, is it like omens? Yeah, in some ways, yes. But I'm saying when sometimes, even when, well, here you don't have hurricanes and all. But sometimes when you can see a storm, when it comes, it's so dark, it covers the whole place, right? Yeah. But your question is, because of some evil person, can this kind of thing? Yeah, generally, like he was saying, that it happens when there's when a lot of evil thing happens, there are bad omens also. Signs like that.
So this is a subtle law.
It's possible, but in this case, the whole universe is darkened.
Yeah. So
So
these are like some subtle laws which, because of which evil can manifest physically in darkness.
yeah, you can say that way, but I cannot explain that how this is manifesting. It could be the Lord wants to show that a bad situation is going to happen to the whole universe, so it's showing a sign.
Bring awareness to all the demigods. Bring awareness to all the demigods what's happening.
Possible.
It's also relates. I heard like from the history, like whenever there is like anything fire in the forest or there's a volcano, so more than the men's or the intelligence, the birds they come to know and they try to fly away from that, or they understand the nature.
Mhm.
So they, what I'm trying to understand, like they know better, even though scientific is something happening, bad thing is coming. The animals and the birds trying to run away back into their home.
Mm. So there are signs.
Yeah, means that way in that science we can see.
There are signs. So this possibly is that sign. As a terrible omen about to happen. So sometimes when evil personalities take birth, there are such signs also. Bad. Sometimes there's blood falling from the sky, or jackals or hyenas screaming, something like that. So this is one. This is a universal disaster.
Cows crying.
Huh?
Cows crying.
Cow?
Cows.
Dogs.
Cows crying.
Cows crying. Yeah. So I was thinking what crane was. Yeah. Okay, next verse.
मैत्रेय उवाच
मैत्रेय उवाच
साप्रहस्य महाबाहो भगवान् शब्दगोचरः प्रत्यचस्तात् प्रभूतेव प्रीणान् रुचिरया गिरा
Sri Maitreya said, thus Lord Brahma, who is understood by transcendental vibration, tried to satisfy the demigods, being pleased with their words of prayer. Anyway, seems that he already knows, right? Because he's three-color jnana. Text 12.
ब्रह्मोवाच
ब्रह्मोवाच
मानसा मे सुताय स्मात् पूर्वजः साकादयः चेरुर्विहाय सा लोकान् लोकेषु विगतस्पृहाः
Lord Brahma said, my four sons, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara, who were born from my mind, are your predecessors. Sometimes they travel throughout the material and spiritual skies without any definite desire. So they are liberated persons. So therefore they don't have any material desires. So they just travel in either the material universe, and he says spiritual sky, which means they go out of the universe also.
So
to preach devotional service. Yeah.
Brahmaji started talking about now for Kumaras. The topics change, right?
He is explaining. He's explaining. He's telling you don't know these personalities. Yeah.
Giving photograph,
He's giving them a kind of a background. Okay? Like a historical perspective. Instead of saying once upon a time, he says my four sons. Yeah. Text 13.
एकदा भगवतो वैकुण्ठनिलयम् सर्वलोकानमस्कृतम्.
After thus traveling all over the universes, They also entered into the spiritual sky, for they were freed from all material contamination. In the spiritual sky, there are spiritual planets known as Vaikunthas, which are the residents of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His pure devotees, and are worshipped by the residents of all the material planets. So the difference between material planets and Vaikuntha planets is that, what's the difference?
They are eternal.
One is eternal, one is temporary. They are always existing, this material. And the other thing is, in material world, they're full of cares and miseries. But that old age and disease. By Vaikuntha means no
anxiety.
no Kuntha.
Good.
Right. That's basically what it is. Text 14.
वसन्ति यत्र पुरुषाः
वसन्ति यत्र पुरुषाः
सर्वे वैकुण्ठमूर्तयः
सर्वे वैकुण्ठमूर्तयः
ये अनिमित्तनिमित्तेन
ये निमित्तनिमित्तेन
धर्मेण आराध्ययान् हरिम्
धर्मेण आराध्ययान् हरिम्.
In the Vaikuntha planets, all the residents are similar in form to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They all engage in devotional service to the Lord without desires for sense gratification. So the Prabhupada says, in the Vaikuntha planet, their form is like Narayana, four-handed form. Okay? And he clearly says that. And these Narayana forms are plenary expansion of forms, feature of Krishna. And then he says, the residents of Vaikuntha Loka are also four-handed. Okay. So then he says, nowhere in the material world do we find a human being with four hands. Yeah, and then the difference here is we work for our senses. There they are trying to please Krishna's senses. So every service there is for centered around how Krishna or Narayan is pleased. So that's the difference between Vaikuntha and our place. Yeah. So you can see here the forms are four-handed forms. So some of you asked, right? Like what about Matsya, Kurma and all this? So no. Text 15.
यत्र चाप्यपुमान् अस्ते
यत्र चाप्यपुमानस्ते
भगवान् शब्दगोचरः
भगवान् शब्दगोचरः
सत्त्वं विष्ठाप्य विरजम्
सत्त्वं विश्राप्य विरजम्
स्वानां नो मृडयान्वशः
स्वानां हृदयान्वशः.
In the Vaikuntha planets is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original person and who can be understood through the Vedic literature. By the Vedas I am to be known, Krishna says. He is full of the uncontaminated mode of goodness. That means pure goodness, with no place for passion or ignorance. That means it's no such thing, or passion. He contributes religious progress for the devotees. So they are always glorifying him and doing devotional service. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, the kingdom of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual sky cannot be understood by any process other than hearing from the description of the Vedas.
Mental speculation.
Yeah,
science.
so no mental speculation and no material mundane science. You cannot use that to understand. You have to read the scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. That's the only way you're going to actually tangibly understand how it is existing. Prabhupada says no one can go and see it. You can't buy a ticket there. Right? You can't buy a ticket. Yeah.
They sent a $1 billion telescope.
It doesn't work. Can't even get out of the material universe. So you can see the whole universal structure, right? From the material universe to get out already is you got 10 layers to get out. Elements one after another. 7 layers.
7 layers and each layer is 10 times thicker.
Each layer is 10 times thicker. And then you break through that, you got the Viraja river and Mahatattva to get through. and then you come to the Brahma Jyoti, then you come to the Vaikuntha place. And Vaikuntha is so huge, billions and millions of planets there, and it's considered to be smaller than Goloka. It's inconceivable.
Oh, actually, the Vaikuntha is considered to be small.
Yeah.
Because
What I read is just
That's
one petal.
that's just a drawing for us to
The
see
whole Vaikuntha is one petal.
oh, really?
That's what I heard.
the size wise, but these are inconceivable notions. Yeah. So yeah, so the modern guy is sending a Sputnik, Prabhupada says. How far can it go, right?
So Prabhupada started even before coming here. He wrote the first book, Easy Journey to
Yeah.
Other Places.
Yeah, Prabhupada wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets.
The vision, what is the mentality of
See,
Before
So you can
Now they are
understand,
sending 1
four
million.
Kumaras were at that level, easy journey. They can easily travel out of this entire material embodiment, out of the Mahatattva and out into the spiritual realm. It's far out. It's far out. And they didn't take, Prabhupada says, takes so long to travel. Light years, they will say, 40,000 light years to go to another planet. So Prabhupada says they can go like that. So we cannot understand the spiritual world except through the descriptions given in the Vedas and Puranas. Okay, we should have to understand that and accept that. Okay, in the material world, it's a combination of the three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So even someone who is in the mode of goodness has some passion and ignorance. There's tinges of that always here. But in the Vaikuntha world, the spiritual sky, only the mode of goodness in its pure form exists. Prabhupada says that. Okay? And they are all Shuddha Sattva. Every living entity in the spiritual sky, every one of them are Shuddha Sattva. Okay? So just, if you think about it, it's impossible to go there. Just imagine the distance first. And then the layers of elements to go through, each one 10 times more than the previous layer. You are really trapped inside. So, text 16.
What Prabhupada says in the second purport, the uncontaminated goodness is basically doesn't have passionate ignorance. So whenever I heard Shuddha Sattva, I wanted to understand.
Vasudeva platform. Vasudeva Sattva. Yeah.
Vasudeva. So how is it related to this Sattva that we say here? We know that the Sattva here is always tinged with passion and ignorance.
Yeah.
So that's understandable. But there is never completely only, but is this goodness same as that goodness?
No, they're different. This material,
From the
no?
way it says here.
One is transcendental.
Shuddha Sattva is transcendental.
One is transcendental. The other one is in material world. It's contaminated.
reflection?
Yeah, exactly. It's perverted.
So, Prabhu, devotional service is at what level? Goodness or Shuddha?
It's when you are doing it without any self thing, it's under Vasudev platform. As long as you're doing for Krishna, it's transcendental. You're on the path of pure devotion. Pure. Soon as you think, oh, I'm so good, that's it.
That's another thing.
Yeah, then you are bound by matter. Matter is just, we are tatastha. So we are either here or there. So as soon as we think, only we fall. How we always fall. Like that.
Either transgressing or regressing.
Right. Either you're up or down. Yeah. Never in between. Okay, text 16.
Yatra naishresam nama
Yatra naishresam nama
vanam kama dukhe dumaihi
vanam kama dukhe dumaihi
sarvato shri vibraja
sarvato shri vibraja
kaivalyam iva murtimat
kaivalyam iva murtima.
In those Vaikuntha planets, there are many forests which are very auspicious. In those forests, the trees are desire trees, and in all seasons they are filled with flowers and fruits. because everything in the Vaikuntha planets is spiritual and personal. So it's a description of Vaikuntha planet he is giving. Brahma, when he did his austerity, he could see all of this thing before he what do you okay. Now everyone is distracted. So in the Vaikuntha planet, when he did his austerities and all, he saw all this. His vision was shown to him by Krishna. All the way to Goloka, everything he saw. So he could describe all this. Otherwise, it's not possible. And then Prabhupada says, in the Vaikuntha planets, there's no difference between the cows, the trees, the animals, the man, everything. Because they are all spiritual and they are all servants of Narayan. They are all trying to serve him. Basically, everything is spiritual. So therefore, Prabhupada says the word Murtimat indicates that everything has a spiritual form. That means there is forms in Vaikuntha. There's no such thing as formless. So formlessness is as conceived by impersonalists is refuted in this verse. In the Vaikuntha planets, although everything is spiritual, everything has a particular form. Confirmed here within this verse. Murtiman. Murti means must have a form. Yeah.
So you use the word Sri.
Yeah.
So you use the word Shri.
Shri. Shri Murti. Text 17.
गायन्ति यत्र समलक्षपणानि भर्तुः अन्तर्जले अनुविकसन् मधुमाधवीनाम् गन्धेन खण्डितधियोऽपि अनिलं क्षिपान्तः
It should be Brahma Samhitamita.
Yeah.
Try that.
Somehow buried in this.
Prabhu managed.
Vaimanika Salanascharitan.
It's a Lord Brahma
Yeah, Brahma.
Okay, let him chant.
वैमानिक सललनाचरितानि शाश्वत गायन्ति यत्र समलाक्षपणानि भस्तुः अन्तर्जले अनुविकसान् मधुमाधवीनाम् गन्धेन खण्डितधियो अपि अनिलं क्षिपान्तः
It's okay. In the Vaikuntha planets, the inhabitants fly in their airplanes, accompanied by their wives and consorts, and eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord, which are always devoid of all inauspicious qualities. While singing the glories of the Lord, they deride even the presence of the blossoming Madhavi flowers, which are fragrant and laden with honey. So basically, they are always glorifying. Whatever activities they are doing, they are always glorifying the Lord. Yeah? So for them, Prabhupada writes, they consider glorification of the Lord more important than their own sense gratification. So therefore, there is no sense gratification. So they don't even want to smell the Madhavi flowers because they think if I smell that means I'm going to be enjoying it. So that is why they derive even that pleasure. Text 18.
कोलाहलो विरमते चिरमात्रमुच्चे भृङ्गादिपे हरिकथामिव गयामन् Mane.
Vringadike Harikatham Yogayamani.
I'm not doing up to now.
That's okay. You just remember.
I got the instruction.
The last one is always
That's
I'm
alright.
able to follow you.
It's okay. That's okay. Translation. When the king of bees hums in a high pitch, singing the glories of the Lord, there's a temporary lull in the noise of the pigeon, the cuckoo, the crane, the chakravaka, the swan, the parrot, the partridge, and the peacock. Such transitional birds stop their own singing simply to hear the glories of the Lord. Because they're all persons. And they all, not like here, when somebody talks, everybody talks. No? Then if somebody glorify the Lord, they all want to hear how nice this glorification is. You know, they are all excited. So they even those these birds, spiritual birds, they all stop to hear. Wow, this is such a wonderful glory. It's amazing. This is the absolute nature of Vaikuntha, Prabhupada says. There's no difference between the birds there and the human residents. The situation in the spiritual sky is that everything is spiritual and variegated. Partridge. Spiritual variegatedness means that everything is animate, alive. There's nothing inanimate. And then later on Prabhupada says, in the Vaikuntha, there is no question of sense gratification. Prabhupada says in the material world, even an ass enjoys his sound vibration. You can understand an ass braying is horrible sound. Which means we are like an ass. Indirectly he's telling all of us. But in the Vaikuntha, such nice birds as the peacock, the chakravaka, and the cuckoo prefer to hear the vibration of the glories of the Lord from the bees. Now that is far out. That means if somebody does service, others are so happy like that. So we also should emulate. Then our society will be like Vaikuntha. When we follow like that. Text 19.
Mandara Kunda Pura Bhotpala Champakarna
Mandara Kunda Pura Champakarna
Punnaganaga Bakulambuja Parijataha
Punnaganaga Bakulambuja Parijataha
Gande Chite Tulasi Kabharanena Tasya
Gande Chite Tulasi Kabharanena Tasya
Yasmin Stapasu Manaso Bahumana Yanti
Yasmin Stapasu Manaso Bahumana Yanti.
You can sing once.
What?
You can sing once. The
Sing.
last line. With that.
Oh, yasmin stapa sumanaso bahumana yanti. Alright, translation. Although flowering plants like the mandara, kunda, kurabaka, utpala, champaka, arna, punnaga, nagakeshara, bakula, lily, and parijata are full of transcendental fragrance. When you read already, you're thinking how they smell. They are still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulasi. See, all these flowers, they respect Tulasi. For Tulasi is given special preference by the Lord who garlands himself with Tulasi leaves. So it's very respectful. That means there's hierarchy also. You know, oh, she has done more service, so we respect. In the material world is opposite. Oh, she is so what, I can do also like that. The attitude is different. So you can see, we have to learn from all this when we read. In the purport, Prabhupada says the importance of Tulasi leaves is very clearly mentioned here. Tulasi plants and their leaves are very important in devotional service. Devotees are recommended to water the Tulasi tree every day and collect the leaves to worship the Lord, which is what we all do. Huh? One time an atheistic Swami remarked, now this is Ramakrishna Mission. Yeah, Ramakrishna Mission. I didn't want to say Vivekananda. Okay, now you all know Vivekananda. He says that. What is the use of watering tulsi plant? It is better to water eggplant. He's a rascal. By watering the eggplant, one can get some fruits, but what is the use of watering the tulsi? They're total rascal. This is rascal. So how can they understand scripture if they talk like that, right? You have some news?
Yes, yeah. Mixed news from.
Okay. Maybe you want to get out and then check it and then come back. Okay, then Prabhupada says, these foolish creatures, unacquainted with devotional service, sometimes play havoc with the education of people in general. So this is a fact. Yeah. So they confuse people of what is right and what is wrong, how to worship Krishna, the procedures and so on. And so common people who don't understand, they think, oh, this is a sadhu, he knows. So they follow. So they don't take care of tulsi, rather they take care of eggplants. So they like eggplant sabji, so they grow eggplants. Renganna bataka, like that. Began. This is Bengali, right? He is Began. Begun sabji. So this is terrible.
Yeah, they very clearly deride.
Many things they did.
But long time back, I was just browsing through a book briefly about Vivekananda, one about Lord Krishna, which calls him the historical king,
Yeah.
and about Mahaprabhu's woman, you just go high, something like they just get to a high and then they just come down, something like that.
Yeah, it's
totally
nonsense.
blasphemy.
They're all nonsense.
Vivekananda.
Rascals. Anyway, Prabhupada says the most important thing about the spiritual world is that there is no envy among the devotees there. This is true even among the flowers, which are all conscious of the greatness of Tulasi. In the Vaikuntha world entered by the 4 Kumaras, even the birds and flowers are conscious of service to the Lord. So even though they take the forms, they are doing it to please Narayan. They want to sing nicely, they want to bloom nicely. So it's just far out. Just think, the whole place is like rainbow of colors and music. Far out, if you think about it. Text 20.
So it was,
Yeah.
I think I heard something similar. That they are like that they like to they don't say anything if the other devotee is saying something.
Yeah.
For us to be there, we have to become like that.
Yeah, you have to
If you're
practice
not,
now.
then this is the training ground.
This is
If you
training.
don't become like that,
Then you cannot, then you have to retrain again. Boot camp again.
Uji, what is this
You
Punnaga
can
flower?
see.
Punnaga. The flower.
I do not know some of these Sanskrit names. I don't know.
I checked it.
Yeah.
You can see.
It's a kind of flower.
What about the other ones? You know everything else?
He probably knows a Brahmin.
It's just pointing to one. I don't know the
It's like a snake.
Not necessarily. It's like a champak, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
So it's in the probably the same family as a champak. Looks like that. Yeah. Anyway, you can go later and look for it. It doesn't grow in Tamil. Don't worry. Okay, text 20.
Something is under our plate.
Okay.
But that is very interesting for both that verse. Only Andhra is mentioned. I read that.
South India was Andhra.
It's okay. It's alright. Don't worry about it. We all follow.
No, we can't read.
At least we should thank that our name is
That's
mentioned.
right.
Lord is saying that you follow the devotees and you will go back. But Tamil Nadu and I didn't even mention that. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. A lot of the acharyas come from South.
Why Madhachandra is saying? You can't say.
Madhachandra knows the
Stop.
secret.
He has the bodily conception.
I am from Bengal.
Prabhuji?
यत्सङ्कुलं हरिपदानतिमात्रदृष्टये
यत्सङ्कुलं हरिपदानतिमात्रदृष्टये
वैडूर्यमरकटहेममयैर्विमानैः
वैरूर्यमानैर्विमानैः
येषां बृहत्कटितथा स्मितशोभिमुख्यः
येषां बृहत्कटितथा स्मितशोभिमुख्यः
कृष्णात्मनं न राज अदधूत्स्मयाद्यैः
कृष्णात्मनां राजकमलसमयानि
The inhabitants of Vaikuntha travel in their airplanes made of lapis lazuli. It's a kind of jewel, and then emerald and gold. So it's made of all these jewels. Although crowded by their consorts, who have large hips and beautiful smiling faces, they cannot be stimulated to passion by their mirth and beautiful charms, and their laughter and things like that. In the purport, that is lapis lazuli, this kind of stone. Okay? And so mixed with emeralds, which are greenish in color, and gold, you can see it's a beautiful combination.
The bright blue metamorphic rock and
Yeah.
lazurite.
It's behind you can see. Now it's
No,
emerald.
As soon as you were saying it, man,
Now it's like
The screen change. You know,
this is an example of
In the Prabhupada says the wonderful feature of Vaikuntha is that although the women have large hips and beautiful faces and are decorated with ornaments of emeralds and jewels, the men are so absorbed in Krishna consciousness that the beautiful bodies of the women cannot attract them. In other words, there is enjoyment of the association of the opposite sex, but there's no sexual relationship. The residents of Vaikuntha have a better standard of pleasure, so there's no need of sex pleasure. Very well, and Prabhupada writes in this. Text 21.
श्रीरूपिणी त्वनयते चरणारविन्दम्
श्रीरूपिणीकरणचरणारविन्दम्
लीलाम्बुजेन हरिसत्त्वनिमुक्तदोषा
लीलाम्बुजेन हरिसद्मनिमुक्तदोषाम्
संलक्ष्यते स्फटिकपुट्य उपेतहेम्नि
संरक्षते स्फटिकपुट्य उपेतहेम्नि
सम्मार्जतीव यदनुग्रहणे अन्ययत्नाः
सम्राजतीव
The ladies in the Vaikuntha planets are as beautiful as the goddess of fortune herself. Such transcendently beautiful ladies, their hands playing with lotuses and their leg bangles tinkling, are sometimes seen sweeping the marble floors, which are bedecked at intervals with golden borders in order to receive the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so opulent and still they are sweeping the floor.
This is a marble floor, right?
Marble should be floor, no?
Yeah, it says wall.
yeah,
Yeah.
all cases walls.
Anyway,
That's
this,
your Vaikuntha planet. I think maybe typo.
huh?
maybe there are marble walls also.
Yeah, marble walls, that doesn't matter.
There's always
Walls,
a minor
yeah.
difference.
There's no dust still there.
Yeah. Anyway, in Prabhupada writes, it is stated here that in the Vaikuntha planets, the houses are made of marble. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the ground on the Vaikuntha planets is made of touchstone. Thus, there's no need to sweep the stone in Vaikuntha, for there's hardly any dust on it. But still, in order to satisfy the Lord, the ladies there always engage in dusting the marble walls. Why? The reason is that they're eager to achieve the grace of the Lord by doing so. It's like, oh, I still have, some homes they will clean until you cannot clean anymore, and still they'll clean, right? They are so obsessed with cleanliness. I mean, in material world, they're too much, but But that's how it is in the spiritual.
They like doing the service.
Yeah.
I think
They're
she
very
was
happy.
mentioning one time, even if there are desired trees,
Yeah.
and people still try to do, say, by desired trees, maybe you can produce a wonderful dish like rasgulla, or you
Still
but,
cook.
but still they'll cook
Yes.
because like to do the
They,
service.
they want to do this. They're attached to serving the Lord. So therefore, all of them, they want the grace of the Lord. Not just on their own they are doing. They want to do and serve so the Lord will smile at them or speak with them. So they all are doing it for the grace in order to be happy, Prabhupada says. So he says even the goddess of fortune needs the Lord's grace in order to be happy. Yet in the material world, even Brahma, the highest created being, seeks the favor of Lakshmi for happiness. Text 22.
वापि सुविद्रुमतस्त्वमलाम् अमलामृताप्सु
वापीषु विद्रुमदताश्वमलाम्रतांसु
केशान्वितनिजवने तुलसीभिरीशाम् अभ्यार्चते स्वकलम् उन्नसम् ईक्ष्यवक्त्रम् उच्चेसितं भगवते धियम् अमताङ्गयश्रीः
Goddess of fortune worship the Lord in their own gardens by offering tulsi leaves on the coral paved banks of transcendental reservoirs of water. While offering worship to the Lord, they can see on the water the reflection of their beautiful faces with raised noses, and it appears that they have become more beautiful because of the Lord's kissing their faces. Text 23.
यन्नाव्रजन्ति अगभिदो रचनानुवादात् शृण्वन्ति येऽन्यविषया कुकुता मतिग्निः यस्तु श्रुताः तभगनिधिरात्तसारात् तां क्षिपन्ति असरेणुषु तमहेतुहन्ता
We all chant. It is very much regrettable that unfortunate people do not discuss the description of the Vaikuntha planets, but engage in topics which are unworthy to hear and which bewilder one's intelligence. Those who give up the topics of Vaikuntha and take to talk of the material world are thrown into the darkest region of ignorance. So, Prabhupada says, the most unfortunate persons are the impersonalists, who cannot understand the transcendental variegatedness of the spiritual world. Therefore, they won't talk about it. So, therefore, Prabhupada punches immediately. They are the most unfortunate. And these people are kukata matigni. Yeah? They always talk about things that are unworthy, temporary things. So, towards the end of that paragraph, Prabhupada says, it is said that this material world is the perverted reflection of the spiritual world. So, unless there is variegatedness in the spiritual world, how can there be temporary variegatedness in the material world? That one can transcend this material world does not imply that there is no transcendental variegatedness. It's logical. How can suddenly your forms here? Where is it coming from? Yeah, where is it coming from? They can't understand that. Anyway, in the next paragraph, in the middle of the next paragraph, Prabhupada says, all these people who are politicians and all those people, they hold many conventions, meetings, and discussions to solve the problems of this worldly situation, where they can remain for only a few years. But they are not interested in understanding the spiritual situation of the Vaikuntha planet. If they are at all fortunate, they become interested in going back home, back to Godhead. But unless they understand the spiritual world, they rot in this material darkness continuously. Because they have no knowledge. Why? Because they are always interested in what's happening in the material realm, right? Look at all the scientists, look at all these major personalities. They're only interested in the material universe. At most, they go out to Mars, that's about it. Even that they can't go. So they have no interest apart from matter. So all their understanding will be going destroyed. It's temporary. The knowledge will be temporary. So such people are unfortunate. What to do?
But they never think why they are so active right now. But when they go, I mean, if the goal is voidness, then why are they so active right now?
That's the void is. They think like that.
Yeah, but then why are they so active?
They feel that they have to be active enough to understand they are nothing. Exactly. So that's why we say, if you think you are nothing, then you can shut up, Why are you wasting our time to hear whatever you say? But they feel that way strongly, that by discussing all this thing and by stopping karma and everything, then they will become nothing. Text 24.
येऽभ्यापितामपि च नो नृगतिं प्रपन्ना ज्ञानं च तत्त्वविषयं सहधर्मं यत्र
ज्ञानं च तत्त्वविषयं सगधर्मं यत्र
नाराधनं भगवतो वितरन्ति अमुष्य
नाराधनं भगवतो वितरन्त्यमुष्य
सम्मोहिता विततया बदमाययाते
सम्मोहिता विततया बदमाययाते.
Lord Brahma said, my dear demigods, the human form of life is of such importance that we also desire to have such life. For in the human form, one can attain perfect religious truth and knowledge. If one in this human form of life does not understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His abode, it is to be understood that he is very much affected by the influence of external nature. So, Brahma was talking about the four Kumaras, then he got excited about the Vaikuntha planets, right?
Yeah.
So he started describing the Vaikuntha, he was so excited. Then he said, alas, this impersonalists and all, these are foolish people. And then he says, people who have human form, they are also foolish if they don't take it up to go back to Godhead. So the importance of a human form of life is so much more important. We don't understand. Brahma is saying to the demigods, it's so wonderful.
It includes all the Devata.
Yeah. So in the Prabhupada writes, Brahmaji condemns very vehemently the condition of the human being who does not take interest in the personality of Godhead and his transcendental abode, Vaikuntha. The human form of life is desired even by Brahmaji. Brahma and other demigods have much better material bodies than human beings, yet the demigods, including Brahma, nevertheless desire to attain the human form of life because it is specifically meant for the living entity who can attain transcendental knowledge and religious perfection. So here Prabhupada is saying very strongly, better than the demigod's body is the human body. So we are all very, very fortunate. It is not possible to go back to Godhead in one life, but in the human form, one should at least understand the goal of life and begin Krishna consciousness. So he's saying it's not possible. It is said that the human form is a great boon because it is the most suitable boat for crossing over the Nescience ocean. The spiritual masters consider it to be the most able captain in that boat. And the information from the scriptures is the favorable wind, so Vedas, for floating over the ocean of Nescience. The human being who does not take advantage of all these facilities in this life is committing suicide. Therefore, one who does not begin Krishna consciousness in the human form of life loses his life to the influence of the illusory energy. Brahma regrets the situation of such a human being. So it's such a glorious situation for us. So we need to take up this process somewhat seriously if you can't do it completely seriously. You have to contemplate it. Daily you have to think about, am I doing it or not? Huh? But daily we do the same mistakes. So no one can foresee, even the Lord can't foresee, but He can make it difficult, your life difficult. That's the only thing He can do. He can't force us to take it up. But these are all appeals. The Lord is appealing through Srila Prabhupada.
Lords and also pure devotees.
He's appealing through Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like how Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. Text 25.
यच्चा भजन्ति निमिषां वृषभानुवृत्या
यच्चा व्रजन्ति अनिमिषां वृषभानुवृत्या
दूरे यमाहियुपरीणः स्पृशनीयशीलः
दूरे यमाहियुपरीणः स्पृशनीयशीलः
भर्तुर्मितासु यस्सया कथनानुरागः
भरतुर्मितासु
वैकल्यबाष्पकलया पुलकीकृताङ्गाः
वैकल्यबाष्पकलया पुलकीकृताङ्गाः.
Persons whose bodily features change in ecstasy and who breathe heavily and perspire due to hearing the glories of the Lord are promoted to the kingdom of God, even though they do not care for meditation and other austerities. The kingdom of God is above the material universes, and it is desired by Brahma and other demigods. So the spiritual kingdom is higher than our universe. So just like how it's drawn, like it's higher, above the material universe. In the Prabhupada says, one can enter the kingdom of Supreme Lord only when one is highly developed in desirable qualities. So desirable qualities means? Good qualities. No? What is that verse? Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchanena sarve gune satra samasate suraha. So, one who has that good automatically develops. The qualities will develop automatically. But what is the main quality that you have to develop? Huh? There's one, huh? Surrender. Krishnaika Sharanam. You have to surrender, take up Krishna consciousness. Then all the other qualities come through. You may have one of these qualities also. That's 26 qualities now. So you can have all the others, but the main quality is Krishnaika Sharanam. And if you have that, all the other qualities will develop on it. Because sometimes in the material world, you see some people are very charitable, but they may not be Krishna conscious. But a Krishna conscious person is automatically charitable. He's always giving Krishna as his charity. Yeah. So for us also, again, we have to see what is our desirable quality we are developing. Right? Daily, what is the quality we are developing? What qualities are we trying to develop in our children and things like that. So this is a good place to consider ourselves. We can ponder and wonder how far am I going in my Krishna consciousness? And am I developing those qualities or not? Right? Am I, like some of you were saying now, humility? Yeah. Have you got humility? Have I developed humility? So it's good to think about it and then try to exercise on it. So Prabhupada says there's 26 qualities. No? And this is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm sure you all went through that, right? No? So Prabhupada quotes that. The 26, they are stated as follows. He's kind, he does not quarrel with anyone. He accepts Krishna consciousness as the highest goal of life. He's equal to everyone. No one can find fault in his character. Magnanimous, mild, clean, internally, externally. Does not profess to possess anything in this material world. He's a benefactor to all entities. Peaceful, completely surrendered to Krishna. No material desire to fulfill. Meek and humble, steady, conquered his senses. He just eats enough to maintain his body and soul together. Doesn't pack, take home. He is never mad after material identity. He is respectful to all others and does not demand respect for himself. Grave, compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert in all activities, and is silent in nonsense. That means he doesn't talk nonsense. And of all these qualities, the main one is surrender to Krishna. Okay. Anyway, try to remember these 26 qualities. Huh? It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. No, I don't have it here.
6.
Okay, one question.
Yeah.
So how do we, when we think about the Babajis, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji or Vamsi Das Babaji, when we see some of these qualities, like they are clean externally and internally, we understand internally they are clean, but externally when we see, they don't keep themselves clean, like Babajis especially. We see
It may appear like that, but they may be very clear. They wash their clothes every day. They only have 1 or 2 pieces, and every day they wash it. So why are they not clean? If you wash anything in India, it will be dirty. It looks dirty in one day. So you can't compare like that, right? Especially when you go to Mayapur and Calcutta, especially Calcutta. One day you walk out and come in, your whole shirt is got nice layer, a mystic layer on it. It's like, so you can't just say because the mendicants in India look dirty. No, they wash every day. I've seen it also. They wash their clothes every day. They get up early, they wash, they let it dry, and by the time they finish their Gayatri, it's dry and they wear and walk out. Yeah. So they are clean. And of course, the most advanced ones, they don't want people to come after them and harass them. So they pretend to be like dirty, like Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. So he would go into a toilet and he'll sit next to the toilet and start chanting. So nobody will disturb him. So then you will think he is a crazy person. But he wants people to think like that. Yeah. So that they don't get disturbed by ordinary people, materialistic people. Yeah. All right, in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, when one is free from all 10 offenses in chanting the holy name of God, he develops the ecstatic bodily features called Pulaka Ashru. Pulaka means symptoms of happiness and Ashru means tears in the eyes. The symptoms of happiness and tears in the eyes must appear in a person who has chanted the holy name offenselessly. So when we don't, that means we are committing offenses still. Right? Here in this verse, it is stated that those who have actually developed the symptoms of happiness and tears in the eyes by chanting the glories of the Lord are eligible to enter the kingdom of God. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that if one does not develop these symptoms while chanting Hare Krishna, it is to be understood that he is still offensive. Chaitanya Charitamrita suggests a nice remedy in this connection. So what is the remedy? It's in verse 31, chapter 8 of Adi Leela, that if anyone takes shelter of the Lord, of Lord Chaitanya, and just chants the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, he becomes free from all offenses. What is that? Chaitanya Nityanande Nahi Eshava Vichara Nama Laite Prema Dena Vahe Ashluddhara. So, with little faith with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, very quickly you get cleansed. So that's why we chant the Panchatattva mantra. And then we chant the holy name. Okay, text 26.
तद्विश्वगुरुवधिकृतं भुवनैकवन्द्यां दिव्यं विचित्रविबुधाग्र्य विमानतोचिः आपुः परान्मुदमपूर्वमुपेत्य योग मायाबलेन मुनया ततो विकुण्ठम्.
Thus the great sages Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumara, upon reaching the above mentioned Vaikuntha in the spiritual world by dint of their mystic yoga performance, perceived unprecedented happiness. They found that the spiritual sky was illuminated by highly decorated airplanes piloted by the best devotees of Vaikuntha and was predominated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
The third time he's talking about airplanes.
Yeah, they're all flying like bees around the Vaikuntha planets.
Purpose is like
You know, so they are there always flying.
pilots are the best devotees.
Yeah, they're the best.
Like the $1 billion telescope. Okay.
So basically, how did these sages go there? They went there by their mystic power. Yeah. So yoga system, all the yoga system you're doing is actually to perfect your mystic power to go back to God. Not to show off here, look, I can produce some ashes or something. That's not the situation. The perfection is to focus and then to liberate from the material realm to go back to the spiritual realm. So that is the reason why there's this Astanga Yoga and so on. Not for the reason of perfecting siddhis. No. The siddhis will come naturally. They are just byproducts of the austerities. But what happens is people suddenly feel attracted to the siddhis. They become amazed themselves. They become confused. I'm able to become smaller than the smallest, larger than. That means I must be God. So then all these impersonalities are correct. and this, they become enamored by their own siddhis. And so they become foolish if they take the wrong path. But actually what you're supposed to do when you meditate and when you see the personality of God in your heart, you're supposed to want to do service to them. And so that mood of wanting to do service will take you to Vaikuntha. But if you want to merge with them, that mood of wanting to merge will take you only to Brahma Jyoti. That's all. That is the faulty conclusion. Okay. So in the last few lines, Prabhupada says, the yoga system can carry one without limitation or difficulty. The word Yoga Maya is used in this verse. Yoga Maya Balena Vikuntam. The transcendental happiness exhibited in the spiritual world and all other spiritual manifestations there are made possible by the influence of Yoga Maya, the internal potency of the Supreme Personality of God. Now, where do the Kumaras live in our universe? Yes. According to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, is Tapo Loka, one of the topmost. And Brahma sometimes comes and visits them to tell them what to do and things like that. So I think we'll stop here and then we'll continue this. So we'll continue on Saturday. I'll give a break tomorrow for your test.
Snow day.
Snow day tomorrow. So,
Night, but in the morning.
Yeah, snow day.
alright, so Saturday we'll
There's
continue.
a morning.
Actually, on Saturday we'll have Hari.
I know, but we are starting at 10. No?
Yeah.